All right, what's doing, everybody? Today is Tuesday, October 1st. Former President Donald Trump shows up to help out the victims of the catastrophic hurricane while Kamala Harris is nowhere to be found. Tonight, the vice presidential debate between J.D. Vance and Tim Walz, and the Oversight Committee is investigating Tim Walz for his ties to the CCP. I'm Alec Lace. This is The Alec Lace Show.
The American family is under attack. Parents are the underdog of this nation. Your children are being indoctrinated. That's right. Your children. They do not belong to the state. They do not belong to the school system. They belong to you, the parents, as a blessing from God our Father. So let's preserve, protect, and fight for the American family together. You're listening to The Alec Lace Show. The future is family.
All right, welcome everybody to the Alec Lace Show. I'm happy and honored, as always, to be here with you guys. We are just 35 days away from the most important election in our nation's history between former President Donald Trump and Vice President Kamala Harris. We're going to get into so much of what is at stake here, really. But before we do that, I just wanted to mention we started a whole new month here in October. And it's from now, I wanted to make this announcement right off the hibbity here. From now until Election Day, I'm going to be adding a new episode each week on Wednesdays. So you're going to get the Alec Lace Show Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday from now up until the week of the election. So I'm going to get a chance to break down some more stuff, have some more guests if I can get them. Tomorrow, I'm slated to have Congressman Tim Burchett and Congressman Warren Davidson on the podcast here with me. And then Thursday's show, I'm scheduled to have actor Kevin Sorbo. So a lot of great stuff coming up here on the Alec Lace Show, but I am just wanted to make that announcement right out of the gate here. I am adding one show per week, so it'll be Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, 1 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And as always, the shows stream live on Rumble at 1 p.m. And then they will be released out to the other platforms, YouTube, Spotify, Apple, wherever you may be listening. So make sure you subscribe wherever you are. And if you missed out, too, September was another great month on the Alec Lace Show. Let me put up on the board. Here are the guests who joined me during the month of September. We had Kash Patel, Roger Stone, Congresswoman Victoria Spartz, Dr. Carol Swain, George Papadopoulos, Dinesh D'Souza, Congressman Matt Gaetz, Royce White, Senator Marsha Blackburn, Congressman Michael Cloud, Congressman Scott Perry, and Maureen Bannon. So if you'll notice there, if you guys have been watching the show for quite a while, there's a lot of names on that list who have come back for their second or their third time on the show. So it's always a good sign when you have guests that are willing to come back and do it again, which means it's a sign that, number one, they're enjoying coming on the show, and number two, you guys are enjoying listening to those guests as well. So please keep your guest suggestions coming. And also, my prayers are out to everybody that's been affected by this hurricane that has just ravaged through so many different states. So far, Hurricane Helene has claimed the lives of 135 people. I don't know how accurate these are. Over 130 deaths that have been confirmed. These numbers keep fluctuating. More than 600 missing. Some say 1,000 missing. We know they have millions of people that are without power. You have $27 billion in damage. Or a one-time, that's like a real drop in the bucket, really, to whenever Vladimir Zelensky shows. As Zelensky shows up, he gets $27 billion without even blinking an eye. But $27 billion in damage so far has been reported. This has ripped through Florida, the Carolinas, Georgia, Alabama, Tennessee, and other states as well. So prayers to all of you who have been affected, your family members who have been affected out there. It always sucks to see these things happen. Hurricane season can never end fast enough. But somebody who is doing something about this certainly isn't the people that are in the White House. Joe Biden, while the hurricane was going on over the weekend, decided it would be a good time for him to hit the beach. And that's what he did. He left the White House. He didn't bother being at the White House to be in any kind of command center to monitor what was going on during this devastating hurricane. He decided to go to the beach instead. And, of course, has not shown up to any of the damaged sites. And I'll put some of the video of some of the devastation that we've seen coming out of this. You've had a lot of independent reporters who were there on the ground during this entire hurricane, because really that's where it is right now. You used to watch like the news and you see the fake weathermen who are out there and you see them kind of swaying back and forth while regular people are walking in the background. Them days are really over. Like the Weather Channel and all that stuff. You have these independent guys. I know Nick Sorter was one of them. Raw's Alert was down there as well. I think they were all together. And they're giving you honest reporting. They go there specifically to bring you guys what's happening. It's totally different than the news feed that you constantly get. It's something different. You get it instantly. They stream live. They post up their videos and their pictures. So really on X is really where you got the up-to-date information on what was going on from just the people who were there. So, I mean, that's really the difference that you have today. But now in the devastation that did occur, President Donald Trump, as you would expect, a man of the people, steps up to the plate. He goes down to Georgia, in Valdosta, Georgia. I'm not sure if I'm saying that right, though. He goes to a hard-hit area in Georgia to go there and be with the people. He teams up with Samaritan's Purse and brings in truckloads of supplies that are needed by the people there. Food, water, fuel, whatever it may be. So he's there with the people on the ground. He also started a GoFundMe to help the people that were injured by this hurricane. And it got over $1 million in 1 hour. I mean, he just launched it, and it got over $1 million in donations within the hour. So President Donald Trump was there. And I'm telling you right now, make no mistake, the people there in Georgia are going to remember that President Donald Trump was there in their time of need when November 5th comes around. They're going to remember what they saw, that this guy showed up to help them out. They're not going to forget that. And so, of course, the left is saying, oh, he's just doing a phony stage op. It's all optics, and he doesn't really care, right? It's interesting that, you know, the guy that they keep trying to kill, the guy that they tell you is a threat to democracy, the guy that they tell you only cares about himself, is the guy that's down there in Georgia, on the ground, at ground zero, where the hurricane did so much damage. This is a guy they've tried killing twice, and he knows the threat levels that are out there. Yet, here he is. He goes out there, and he's there to help the people get through their time of need, right? He shows up. The guy who's supposed to be just for himself shows up there to help others. He also, he hooked up with Elon Musk to bring Starlink to these people so that they can get internet access. So here's a clip of Donald Trump on the ground in Georgia.
Homes, hospitals, highways, and cars have been plunged underwater. Entire neighborhoods have been turned into lakes. Nobody's seen anything like it, and to every family that's been displaced here in Georgia and North Carolina, which has really been hit. We were going there also, and they don't have communication. They don't have anything right now. We're trying to. I just spoke to Elon. I'm getting him. We want to get Starlink hooked up because they have no communication whatsoever. And Elon will always come through. We know that. And so we're working on that, getting them hooked up. They asked me whether or not that would be possible. And we're going to try and get the Starlink in there as soon as possible because they have no communication. And throughout the region, our hearts are with you, and we are going to be with you as long as you need. It's called an hour of need. You're in our prayers, and we pray to God. And throughout the long weeks that lay ahead, you're going to have a lot of work, but the end result is it's going to be good. We just wish so many people weren't so badly hurt, and in many cases, sadly, no longer with us. We love you.
And so, of course, when you have Donald Trump and you have somebody like Elon Musk that's willing to help, what a blessing it is to the people that have been hurt by this hurricane. Of course, Joe Biden, again, sleeping at the beach. Oh, we'll be there when I get to it. By the time the help comes from the federal government, it's too late. You need the help right away. As soon as this stuff happens, the sooner the better. And there's been so many great American people who have stepped up, donated, whether it be food, clothes, whatever. People have really stepped up, as you would pray, that we are still that kind of country where we still have good people who will step up and do the right thing. So whether it's donating their money, their time, their clothes, their food, people have stepped up, and President Donald Trump has stepped up as well. But what did Kamala Harris do? She puts out, talk about a staged photo op. Here's the photo that Kamala Harris puts up. Here she is pretending to be on the phone, working hard for the people that were devastated during the hurricane. But let's take a closer look at the photo, right? She's on the phone where she's using the Apple AirPods, the earbuds, right? The headphones, old school, wired ones. The only problem is she doesn't have them plugged into the phone, right? So this created a big controversy. Even Donald Trump tweeted about this yesterday. I'll put it up on a board here. Another fake and staged photo from someone who has no clue what she is doing. You have to plug the cord into the phone for it to work. Biden and Harris abandoned Americans in Afghanistan. They sacrificed Americans to an open border. And now they have left Americans to drown in North Carolina, Georgia, Tennessee, Alabama, and elsewhere in the South. Under this administration, Americans always come last because they have leaders who have no idea how to lead. Powerful statement there by President Donald Trump. He couldn't be more right. It takes leadership at a time like this, and there is no leadership quality or skill coming from Kamala Harris. Now, of course, if the people there in Alabama and North Carolina decided to start waving Ukrainian flags, maybe that would get a little bit more attention from these people. But obviously, it's failed leadership. Trump quick to point that out again, too. He's right on the money. They abandoned our people in Afghanistan. They've abandoned the American citizens by leaving the border open and allowing these murderers and rapists to just ravage through the country. But here he is leaving the people to suffer who have been affected by the hurricane as well. One other thing about the photo here, I want to put these two photos side by side. Have you take a look at it. It seems like Kamala Harris can't figure out how to use the iPhone headsets, right? The wired headsets. She can't figure out how to use the headphones that are wired in, because look at the picture here, right? The first picture that you see on the left is her. She's got everything here correctly. She's got the headphones on both ears, and she's got it plugged into the phone, as you can clearly see. The only problem is she also has the actual phone up to her ear as well, which means she actually is doing one of these jobs here. She's got this going on where she's got it plugged in, right? She's got the phone plugged in. She's got the earpiece, but she's also doing this job. So she's going, oh, well, how many times are you listening here? What's going on? So she's got, multiple listening sources going on there with the headphones and the Apple receiver. So it looks like it's a fake staged photo. It looks terrible. And then you contrast that with the other one where she doesn't have the phone jack. She doesn't have the headphones plugged into the phone jack. So it just looks like she has the headphones on and she's wearing them for the staged photo. It doesn't appear to be anything on the paper that she's writing there, where you could see somewhat writing on other pages that are around there. It looks like she's writing on a blank page. Listen, everything with this woman is staged and fake, and it makes obvious sense that they just staged this as well. They said, oh, well, how many times do you think they took the photo and said, oh, we're going to go with this one, right? Look, let's show how hard you're working for the people that have been destroyed by this hurricane. And again, this is more of what we can expect from Kamala Harris. She's a total fraud. Here she was being interviewed by two former NBA players. I don't even know who they are, but this clip started to go viral yesterday. She was asked on their show about her economic plan. Here's how she responded.
Going from a show to a whole entire company, what is your economic plan moving forward for people who are living paycheck to paycheck and struggling for groceries and rent and homeowners?
So, look, I grew up, my sister and I were raised by our mother. We lived for a long time in an apartment on top of a child care center. That child care center was actually owned by a woman who lived 2 doors down from us, Mrs. Shelton, who was, by all of our accounts and feelings, our second mother. She helped raise us. And so she was a small business owner. So I'll start with the small business, and congratulations on what you guys have done. I, from a child, knew who our small business owners are, right? I mean, you're business leaders, but you're also civic leaders. You take seriously your voice and how you can mentor, how you can grow, right? Communities and the sense of communities. I love our small businesses. And so a lot of my work in terms of building and growing the economy has focused on small businesses. And my vision overall is we need to build an opportunity economy in which we increase opportunity for all, including small business owners. So a lot of my work, even in the Senate, was about increasing access to capital through our small businesses, and in particular through our community banks. Mm-hmm. So I've been responsible for billions of dollars more now going into our community banks, because they're in the community, and then they know who's in the community and where the talent is and who's doing good in the community, what the community wants. And so part of my plan as president
Now, she started to roll right into that middle class family, right? Well, I'm from a middle class, but she had to pivot there a little bit because she's been called out for not giving an answer so much. So she went into the word salad there. She started to talk about her and her sister, how they were raised. She gives zero answer on her economic plan. She doesn't describe what is the point of what she's trying to do here. Nothing. Right? She doesn't tell you how she's going to do what she wants to do. She doesn't paint you a clear picture of what it looks like. Zero. Okay? Now, if you're these two NBA players, these you're black players, and you're interviewing Kamala Harris, why not ask a question like this? Why do they are so afraid to ask a question and say, Vice President Harris, why have black communities not gotten any better despite decades of Democrat leadership? We could point to so many different communities that have been loyal to voting Democrat for decades, yet there's been no improvement in these communities that are predominantly black. Why is that? Right? Why doesn't anyone ask her that? Like, she went to the black journalist, right? The one that she skipped out on with Trump. She went there for the solo job. Every question they give her is a softball. Every single one that they give her. It's a nothing burger. Trump shows up, they hammer, hammer, hammer. She shows up, it's cotton balls. Whoop, whoop. Right? Here's a layup. Here's another layup. They never hold her feet to the fire. Why not just ask her? Why haven't you been able to help black communities? And if you have, where is the black community that's been helped by Democrat policies? We're all looking for it. We can't find one. Why is that? And then you'd have to ask, listen, so far, there's been no improvement whatsoever. No black communities have gotten better after decades of Democrat rule. Why do you think we should vote for you again? You haven't done nothing to help the black community. Why should black people vote for the Democrats again? And then what would the answer be? More promises? This time we're going to get it right? Give us another 50 years and we'll get it straight? And then here she is again with the fake black Southern accent. She pulled in that same interview. She broke out into this. Take a look.
An incredible family and incredible friends. My best friend from kindergarten is still one of my best friends.
That's crazy.
Right? Stacey Johnson.
Yeah, that's dope. I love it.
We used to go to the clubs and her father Seville.
Yeah.
I think you could kind of see the look on these two guys' faces as she started, number one, giving some of these answers, and then number two, she breaks out with that. It's like she's a fraud. She's pandering to the people, and it's always, isn't this the same MO? The Democrats show up pandering to the minority communities every time that they need some votes, every time it's election year. As soon as they get the election to go in, they abandon these people. They leave them for dead, and then all of a sudden, 3.5 years later, here they are again in the neighborhood. Hey, we're looking to help you. Haven't you, don't people catch on to this? This is a total con job by the Democrat Party, and nobody, they're like, oh, yeah, here they are, they're back again. Where have you been for the last 3.5 years? Oh, it's time to vote again? Yeah, sure. I know you're going to help us out. Meanwhile, the guy they keep trying to kill did more for the black community than Joe Biden and Barack Obama combined. But he's a threat to democracy. And here's what the media will tell you. Now, here's an interesting thing here, too. Oh, and by the way, let me make this announcement. Saturday, Donald Trump is returning to Butler, Pennsylvania, the site of the assassination attempt, the first assassination attempt. The second one came 64 days later. But here goes Donald Trump. He is going to be going back into Butler, Pennsylvania to do another rally, and I am going to be there. I have made the decision, made the arrangements, and I will be there on site. So not only are you getting a bonus episode tomorrow on Wednesday, but make sure you lock it in Saturday. I'm going to be there with my son, getting content, recording interviews with the people there on the ground. So make sure you follow me on X at Alec Lace, because I'm going to pump those out as soon as I get them. I may even go live there. I'm not sure, but on Rumble, you'll get it on the following on Tuesday. I'll put all the content. I'll give you guys the highlights of everything from there. But if you want to catch it up to date, follow me on X, because that is definitely where I'm going to post it. So I may go live on Rumble. I don't know. So make sure you subscribe to me on Rumble as well. If I decide I can make it work, I'll go live on Rumble as well. But definitely make sure you follow me on X. And I wanted to point this out here, too. This is the Democrats and what they really think and what they really want. Here's Hillary Clinton telling you how the media needs to demonize President Donald Trump, right? Take a listen to what Hillary says here that the media needs to be doing.
The press needs a consistent narrative about the danger that Trump poses, because people may still look at the danger and say, I don't care, it doesn't affect me, I'm going to vote for him for X, Y, or Z. But okay, but at least people need to be woken up and given the facts about what he has done.
Right? They just need to tell everybody just how bad Donald Trump is, because they might just be voting for. They need to tell them the lies that we want them to hear. That's what Hillary wants. We want you to be able to hear the lies that we want them to hear. This is why you hear people like John Kerry saying how we have to give people just one version. And at these other versions, then we need to get rid of that First Amendment, that pesky First Amendment. Here's John Kerry.
Look, if people go to only one source and the source they go to is sick, and has an agenda, and they're putting out disinformation, our First Amendment stands as a major block to the ability to be able to just, hammer it out of existence. So what we need is to win the ground, win the right to govern by hopefully having, winning enough votes that you're free to be able to implement change.
Right? So here's Hillary Clinton tells you that they need to tell the people just how rotten and terrible. Tell them Trump is Hitler. We need the people to understand that Trump is like Hitler. And then here's John Kerry saying, yeah, these alternate forms of media where you can get that go against what we say, you shouldn't be allowed to have that. That's where that First Amendment, that pesky First Amendment gets in the way, and we got to get rid of that. So this way you just listen to us, just like during COVID. Everybody got banned from social media all over the place during COVID because they did everything they could to stomp out anybody that was going against the narrative that they were trying to the First Amendment never faced a more dangerous time in the last few decades than it did during COVID-19 because they shut down anybody that was trying, doctors that are world-renowned, right? Published doctors, like they tried to shut everyone's voice down that went against the narrative. It was insane what we saw, the attack on the First Amendment during COVID-19. It was insane. But here you go, John Kerry telling you, no, you have to be able to just get our information. You can't get anybody else's. And if you do, we should find a way to shut that down. It gets in the way of our narrative. This is state media. You should just get the state media. This is what communists want. This is what the Marxists, the socialists, this is what they want. Shut down the First Amendment. Just listen to our propaganda. That's it. You even have here's in the New Yorker 2 weeks ago. Is it time to torch the Constitution? This is who these people are. They want to throw the Constitution out the window. They don't want the First Amendment. They definitely don't want the Second Amendment. We know that. Here, they don't want the Supreme Court either. Here, listen to this left-wing lunatic.
Biden's still the president. No one seems to notice, but Biden should dissolve the Supreme Court.
Dissolve the Supreme Court?
I'm the president. I'm the king now, like you said, and go home.
Yeah, why do we need the Supreme Court? Just get rid of the Supreme Court altogether. And you could see, what's his name there? He looked like, well, okay, that's a little insane, but that's who these people are. That's who these Marxists are. They want to destroy this entire country, and they are doing it. And let alone here's how they destroy, too, masculinity. Talk about that. Here's Jen Psaki. She sits down with the first gentleman, Doug Emhoff, and listen to what she tells this guy. Listen to this.
Important part, an interesting part of how people have talked about your role here is how your role has reshaped the perception of masculinity. And I'm not sure you planned on that, but you are an incredibly supportive spouse. Has that been an evolution for you? And do you think that's part of the role you might play as first gentleman?
It's funny, I've started to think a lot about this. I've always been like this. My dad was like this. And to me, it's the...
You reshaped the perspective of masculinity. Now, Doug Emhoff is the guy who slept with the nanny, right? Knocked her up. This is the same. This guy here is reshaping masculinity. Here is the current state of masculinity. Here's Magic Johnson's son getting out of a car, right? This is the current state of masculinity. This is how he's reshaped. This is the reshaping of masculinity. The reshaping of masculinity is that masculinity is toxic, so we need it to be womanized. We need it to be feminine. That's what masculinity is today. And Doug Emhoff, I guess, is helping to change that perspective of it because it's been destroyed by the left that wants to do everything it can in its power to weaken men. And to a very big certain degree, they have done exactly just that. So there was Jen Psaki fawning over Doug Emhoff in that video. And we're going to get to this debate tonight in just a minute here. But here was this thing I found interesting, too, I want to share with you guys. Project 2025 is something I'm sure you're going to hear come up in the debate tonight. There's no doubt. They talk about it every chance they can. Project 2025, Project 2025. Now, Donald Trump has specifically stated time and time again, he has nothing to do with Project 2025. He didn't write it. He didn't read it. It has nothing to do with him. But the left keeps trying to tell you that it's Donald Trump's baby. Now, what's interesting here is this guy, Mickey Edwards, real name Marvin Edwards, was a founding trustee of the Heritage Foundation. Now, the Heritage Foundation is who wrote Project 2025. So the founding trustee, Mickey Edwards, or Marvin Edwards, who does he endorse for president? Well, he endorses Kamala Harris. So isn't that an interesting kind of tangled web that we weave when we talk about Project 2025? The guy that founded the company that wrote Project 2025 is endorsing Kamala Harris for president. So doesn't this all just smell like it was all a propaganda thing, right? All a psyop just to go against President Donald Trump? There's a reason why they keep trying to pin it on. It's their own people that are involved in it. So this was a Republican guy, Mickey Edwards, who decided, I'm going to vote and endorse Kamala Harris. He's the guy, the founding trustee of the Heritage Foundation. And then some people, you point that out online, and then people are like, he's just a founding member of the Heritage. He didn't write a Project 2025. Well, neither did Donald Trump. But they keep trying to pin it on him. And they hate Donald Trump so much that they try to pin everything possible that they can on him. Project 2025. During the DNC, they projected Project 2025 onto the Trump Tower in Chicago. That's how crazy these people are. Anything to make the point stick. Once they can etch it in the minds of the people, this is why they want control over the entire media organization. You just saw, what's his name, George Soros. Look at this. He buys over 200 radio stations. Now, why is that? Why are they buying 200 radio stations? You may think, I was just talking about this last week, like, who listens to radio anymore? Back in the day, you used to listen to radio for your favorite song. You'd call in, tell the DJ, hey, what song you want to hear? Oh, play this song for my girlfriend. Play this song for my mother, right? Who does this anymore? Any song you want to hear, you play it. No one's listening to radio anymore, so why is radio important? Talk radio is dominated by conservatives. There's no question about that. So here comes George Soros saying, okay, we're going to buy 200 stations now. Because this is where one of the last kind of, obviously, media, as far as the news, mainstream media, controlled by the Democrats and the left. The Hollywood, controlled by the Democrats and the left. The universities, controlled by Hollywood and the left. This is the one spot where the conservatives dominate, and it's talk radio, and now you got Soros buying 200 radio stations. And the reason for that is to have total control over the perspective, the narrative, and just give you what they want you to hear. Just like they're saying right there. You heard John Kerry in the clip. Now, this is a battle between good and evil. Yes, of course it is. And we just had on Sunday the feast of St. Michael, the Archangel. And this drove the left bananas because Donald Trump put up a post. This was the feast of St. Michael. And here's Donald Trump's post that he put up. And this is the St. Michael prayer. St. Michael the Archangel, defend us in battle. Be our defense against the wickedness and the snares of the devil. May God rebuke him, we humbly pray. And do thou, O Prince of the heavenly hosts, by the power of God, cast into hell Satan and all the evil spirits who prowl about the world, seeking the ruin of souls. So Donald Trump puts this up on his Twitter. Now that's, if you go to Catholic Church like I do, at the end of every Mass, we say this prayer to St. Michael, right? It's at the end of every Mass of the church that I go to. So depending on where you go, maybe you hear it as well. But this is something that kind of really drove the left out of their minds. Here was this guy, Robert Reich, who posts this as he was just, devastated by this. He quote tweets Trump and puts, Trump increasingly suggests that he is God's chosen instrument of wrath and that his opponents are evil spirits to be cast into hell. If you don't find this terrifying, you're not paying attention. Now, Donald, number one, it's the feast of St. Michael. So he's posting the prayer on the day of the feast right now. Now, yes, there is a good versus evil. There's no question about that there's a good versus evil going on here, a battle of good and evil. And you got to push back against evil. And they see that this is the issue that we're seeing right now. You have the people on the left who believe they're good, and they're fighting the evil, which is Donald Trump. And you have people on the right who believe they're good, and they're fighting the evil Marxists and communists on the left. This is the battle that's been going on throughout time in memoriam, right? This has been going on forever. There isn't a case in time where you have good versus evil, where the evil believes that they're evil. The evil always believes that they're on the side of the righteous. It wasn't like Hitler was leading his men into battle thinking, hey, we're Satan and we're the devil and we're going against God and good. He believed God was on his side, right? This is the way everybody that goes into these battles all believes that they're on the right side and the other side is on the wrong side. So this is why we are at just such a critical point and so divided in our country here right now. But when you have people that are saying we need to destroy the Constitution, throw out the First Amendment, get rid of the Second Amendment, you're on the side that's against the United States, right? You are not on the side of what the United States stands for. When you want to have the border open and flood it in with illegal immigrants who don't come over here through a proper channel, when you want to allow murderers and rapists to come into these neighborhoods, you're not on the side of the United States. I mean, it's not that hard to see. I mean, these are basic fundamental things that you have to have in order to secure your country. You have to have a secure border. You got to have some kind of law and order. We don't have either one of those. And the left is anti the church, anti-Christ. They hate everything to do with faith, with family. So yes, when you're talking in terms of who's on good and who's on evil, it depends on whether or not you want the United States to flourish or not. If you believe in the United States and you believe in what the Constitution stands for, there's zero chance you could be rooting for Kamala Harris and Joe Biden to win. It's impossible. It's almost even like the American flag has become a symbol of the Republican Party now. Really become a symbol of Donald Trump. And that's because the people on the left hate everything about America. And if you parents out there have kids that have come home from these universities, you know exactly what I'm talking about. They come out of the universities, oh, America stole land from the Indians. It's an inherently racist country. It needs to be overthrown because it's terrible and it's just racist. And they hate everything about it. They don't want to defend the American values. They don't want to defend the American Constitution. So yes, is there a battle of good and evil? There always has been. And on this earth and on this planet and in this age, there always will be. There will never be a time during this place, right now, where we are on earth, there will never be a time where good beats evil or evil beats good. There will always be good and there will always be evil. St. Michael the Archangel, he deals with in heaven. He's the one that actually beats Satan and casts him down into hell, right? So this takes place in heaven. Down here on earth, in our life, good and evil are always going to exist together. And the idea is to cooperate with the positive side of this life. That's the whole idea. You got to push back against the evil. You got to push back against the darkness. And that's what this is all about. It's been here from the beginning of time, and it ain't going away. It's almost as if like hoping that one day we'll wake up and it'll be daylight forever, and it'll never be nighttime again, right? And that's impossible. That's not going to happen. It's the same thing with good versus evil. So you have to cooperate with the positive side. So Donald Trump there basically just putting out the St. Michael the Archangel prayer, and that really just set the Democrats crazy. Oh my God, look, he's talking about casting evil spirits and all this other stuff, but and they mock everything that has to do with faith and family and religion anyway, which is why I don't understand how you have Catholics that are going to vote for Kamala Harris. I don't get it. I don't get how anybody Christian would vote for Kamala Harris. It really boggles my mind. All right, anyway, here we go. Tonight, we got the debate between J.D. Vance and Tim Walz. I think this thing should be sponsored by Man Ponds. Look at this. We'll put some Man Ponds up on the thing there. Now, this is going to be interesting. Now, you got the two hosts. It's going to be on CBS, 9 p.m. tonight, Margaret Brennan and Norah O'Donnell. Now, Margaret Brennan, she is an anti-Trumper. She's a Trump derangement syndrome person. But here she is. Listen, here she is right here. Let me play this clip. Right after Trump gets shot in the head, this is how she reacted. Now, this is right at the time on CBS how she reacted. And she's moderating the debate. Take a listen.
And he closes with God Bless America. And we saw him raise his hand in the air defiantly, blood on his face as he left the stage.
He is recovering from these injuries now. This was a traumatic event, no doubt, for him. But I did notice there was no call for lowering the temperature, condemning all political violence, and really trying to signal to his supporters as well, not to retaliate or to have any kind of escalation here. I just am looking at these statements.
There's a belief in his inner circle that he's under siege.
I understand.
Being attacked at his rally, and so there's a lot of every text message I'm getting.
Will exactly digest it, like you're saying.
I mean, every single text message, literally every single one from Trump sources is outraged and shocked. And so that is certainly the mood inside the highest ranks of the Republican Party, speaking to CBS News tonight.
You got to love this. So here's this lunatic telling you that in his time of being shot, the first thing he should have done, instead of getting up and yelling, fight, 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 was stand up and say, hey, guys, lower the temperature here. You guys got to lower the temperature a bit. This coming from the media that's been telling everybody that Trump is Hitler for 6, 7, 8 years now. They have painted a picture of Trump that has got people so screwed up in the mind that they'll never get an opportunity to see who Trump really is. They've been lying about Trump since he came down the escalator, and now they're trying to tell you, oh, Trump needs to tone down the temperature. These people have done nothing but incite violence in this country, and especially incite violence against Donald Trump. And so you're going to hear, we'll see how this debate goes between J.D. Vance and Tim Walz. Now, it should be a wild debate. There's a lot of things that I think are going to come flying out of the gate here. It could get out of hand pretty quickly. I'm sure you're going to hear a few of these things. Probably, I'm sure everyone's going to have their bingo card ready, and I would think a few of these would have to be on there. Childless cat ladies, tampons for boys, Haitians eating pets, stolen valor. I think all of that stuff is on the table. When you want to have a little bit of fun with this, I think those are some of the things that'll be flying back and forth. Now, key points I think that are against Tim Walz in this debate. Number one, the way he handled the George Floyd riots and allowed his cities to burn as he was the governor of Minnesota. Minneapolis, for one, was just torched to the ground, and he allowed that to go on. His wife actually had the windows open to smell the aroma and get an essence for what was really going on. His insane abortion stance, I think, is a key point against him. This is a guy who believes that the baby could be killed even after it's born. If it's a failed abortion, there's no law in Minnesota now that you have to revive the baby. They allow the baby to just die after a failed abortion attempt. He's extreme when it comes to his abortion stance. Also, his transgender surgery for minors. This Minnesota has become a sanctuary state for transgender children who don't need to have consent from their parents. He's very anti-parent and very pro LGBTQ mafia. So those, I think, are sticking points. I think key points against J.D. Vance are going to be his previous comments about President Donald Trump, no matter what. Now, J.D. Vance, I think, is very good, and he's going to be good in this debate. He's very good at going after these journalists when they come at him. If you have watched him in any of these things, on Meet the Press, on Meet the Neighbor, whatever, well, all these different shows that he goes on. Obviously, he goes on their shows. Kamala Harris never comes on to the conservative media side, but J.D. Vance goes into the line of fire constantly, and he constantly comes out the winner. So he's very good on his feet. He's very quick-witted. He knows the issues. He's very, very well-spoken. There's no question about that. The comments that he made about President Donald Trump in the past are his weak spot. There's no doubt about that. And I would expect Tim Walz tonight to be throwing a few of those out there, and he would be stupid not to, because he would say something to the sense of, well, I'm just going to say, just like J.D. Vance said, Donald Trump is this, Donald Trump is that, and he's going to use those words against J.D. Vance, and I would imagine J.D. Vance is prepared for that with some type of comeback, because that's definitely going to come at him. And I think that's his weakest point. And it sucks that those comments are out there. He's explained them multiple times. No matter how many times you explain it, it's there. And so they're definitely going to use that against him. But obviously, I think he's going to be far better at the debate than Tim Walz. I think Tim Walz is a goofy, I don't really know if I could say exactly what I want about tampon Tim Walz. This guy is dangerous. I think he's a maniac. So hopefully we see a total and complete smackdown of Tim Walz tonight, 9 o'clock on CBS. And I figured I would share this with you guys, since in honor of tonight's debate, I had the debate right here on the Alec Lay Show between Donald Trump and Kamala Harris, played by Sean Farish and Esty Palti. And at one point during that debate, I asked them about their vice president candidates, and so they had a little banter about it. So I figured, in case you guys missed that debate. I'll play that clip for you guys right here. The full debate is on my page here. If you're following on Rumble or YouTube or Spotify, go find the presidential debate that I did. Here's a clip of Trump and Kamala talking about their VP picks. Take a listen. There's been a lot of chatter online here about your vice president picks. We got J.D. Vance. They accuse him of sleeping with his couch. Tim Walz. They accuse him of drinking horse semen, stolen valor, the whole bit. So how can you guys assure the public that your pick for vice president will be able to step in as commander-in-chief provided they're called to action?
Well, I have to say, so J.D. Vance is a tremendous guy. He's got a beautiful beard, and we're very happy with him. He's a great pick. He served his country honorably and didn't lie about it. You know that he didn't lie about it. Tim Walz lied about it, said he went to war. He's never been to war. Said he went to Afghanistan, never went to Afghanistan. Said he was a command sergeant major. And we know that was not true either. He was demoted before he retired because he didn't want to deploy to Iraq, which I don't blame him. You know, if I was your president, there'd be no Iraq war, and he wouldn't have had to go. You know, he was probably hoping, I wish Donald Trump was my president. I wouldn't be deployed to Iraq because there'd be no Iraq war. But he's a disaster. You know, they call him stolen valor. They call him Tampon Tim. He wants to put tampons in the boys' room, but they call J.D. Vance weird. Nothing is weirder than a boy using a tampon. And I don't know, maybe Tim has to use them for some reason. We call him Paintballs Walls, because he had his cops shoot paintballs at people. Could you believe that? He shot paintballs at people in Minneapolis after he let the city burn down in the fiery but mostly peaceful protest. He's a complete and total disaster. Looks like an overgrown cream puff. You look at him, he looks like a pastry. Chris Christie gets excited. We don't need to worry about him. We love J.D. Vance. He's a tremendous person. He's going to be great just in case something bad happens, because a lot of people want to forget. Something bad almost happened. I turned my head to the right. I got shot in the ear. What a horrible thing. But I'm here. I'm here to tell the tale. I'm alive. I'm still kicking. And we're going to win like nobody's ever seen. But if something bad happens, we know J.D. Vance is going to be able to lead this country into prosperity, whereas no balls Walz, if he had to be the president, would probably retire and leave, just like he did when he was in the National Guard, because he's a coward and he's not capable of anything. That much I can tell you.
Great stuff. Madam Vice President, Tim Walz annihilated there by the former president. What's your take here? Is Tim Walz ready to step in, and what's your take on J.D. Vance?
Yeah, first of all, let me be clear. J.D. Vance, he's weird, all right? And I'm sticking with that. He's weird. I don't know what his deal is. And, you say tampon Tim like it's a bad thing. I'm not going to lie, Don. Sometimes you do have, some good unburdened ideas. I think my campaign slogan will be Campon. I think that's great. But let's get serious for a second. I spoke about this at length before. All right. I might even spoken about this more times than I've spoken about the border, which I do plan on, going to eventually. But you got to understand, like Joe, he was slow to start. And, Tim, he's just so energetic. He's exactly what the people want. When it comes to, stolen valor, I mean, valor is valor. And your definition of what war is might be different to somebody else's definition. That's why you're dangerous to democracy. You're dangerous. We try to redefine all definitions to make the world a better place, right? That's what diversity is about. That's what inclusivity is about. So, I want him to enjoy whatever semen he wants to enjoy. I want him to wear tampons if he needs them, because I want the little boys in this country to be prepared for when they need to menstruate, right? And you don't care about the kids. You clearly don't care about them. My administration is filled with people who care about the children, all right? I don't really care about the ones at the border, but that's a different story. It's another question, Alex. So, Don, I'm going to tell you, you say tampon Tim like it's a bad thing. JD is a weirdo. All right. And, he married that Indian woman to spite me. Don't think I don't see what you're both up to. Right.
All right, let's move along. I'm not sure we want to have that kind of racial undertone here. Let's keep it clean if we can here, possibly, Madam Vice President. Right away with the race we're going into, we want to protect all races and people's
diversity, Alec.
What a terrible thing. What a terrible thing. No, I have to say this. What a terrible thing.
It's about
Let's
diversity
not act like
and
let's not act
inclusivity.
like children. Let's not act like children, okay? Or you're gonna challenge me to golf soon, just like your boss, okay? Let's not act like children.
I'll see you on that, on that football field any day for golf. All right.
Those two are the best in the business. I know Saturday Night Live is trying to get into the mix here with a Kamala impersonator, their Trump impersonator. They ain't got anything on Sean and Esty. They're the two top tier when it comes to impersonating Trump and Kamala Harris. So if you missed that debate, go check it out on my channel. The full debate was about a half-hour debate. It was absolutely hilarious. And so you'll get, if you liked what you saw there, please go back if you missed it and go check out the full debate. One more thing I wanted to hit on here too. Chairman Comer, James Comer of the Oversight Committee has now subpoenaed the Department of Homeland Security whistleblower. This is about Tim Walz's ties to the CCP. And I'm sure J.D. Vance may be throwing that into the debate as well. Here it was. I'll put it up on the board from the Oversight Committee. According to recently received whistleblower disclosures, we've learned of a non-classified Microsoft Teams group chat amongst Department of Homeland Security employees and additional intelligence reports that contain information regarding a long-standing connection between the CCP and Minnesota Governor Tim Walz. So it goes into more of the specifics. This could be a blockbuster thing. Now, what this does is it kind of opens up the door a little bit to, here we go again with the China connection, because we know that Joe Biden and the Biden crime family, Hunter Biden, are explicitly tied, completely tied into the CCP. They are owned by the CCP. We've seen it all through the laptop and through Hunter Biden and these shady business dealings that all went down. And so here you go now. Here's another one of these doors that is open to the CCP having control over a candidate that's going to be in the White House. It seems like Tim Walz is their boy. Now, Tim Walz has been to China more than 30 times, and this whistleblower has come forward now that Tim Walz has these CCP links. So we're going to find out. China gets another boy in the White House, it seems. And we know that Joe Biden, Hunter Biden, these guys are compromised. It looks like Tim Walz compromised as well. It could even be the reason why they chose him to be the VP, even despite the fact that this guy, he is a poor choice to have. He's a weak candidate. The stolen valor stuff alone with him has been a disgrace. So we'll see. We'll keep an eye on this. I'm going to try to see if I can get Chairman Comer on the podcast here. I put a feeler out there. We'll see what happens. Last thing I wanted to hit on here was Melania Trump has a new book out. And man, what a first-class First Lady, Melania Trump. Can't wait to have her grace the halls of the White House again. Obviously, the most, I think it's a slam dunk that she was the most beautiful First Lady that we've ever had in the White House. There's no question about it. I would also add that she was the classiest. But she came out with a new book, and I want to play, she sat down for an interview on Fox, and she was talking about coming into a family with Donald Trump, who already had kids. And I wanted to play this piece. I thought it was pretty cool.
When you married Donald Trump, he already had 4 children, and you talk about that in the book. And it would seem so fun to have just so much life and children around you. You said, I gave everyone their own space, grounded in love and respect. You didn't always agree, but acknowledged differing viewpoints. So what advice do you have for blended families?
To take individual as they are. You cannot control anyone. You could control only your own behavior, your own words. Everybody's in control of own self. I'm not in control of my husband. I'm not in control of his children. I'm not even in control of my child. He's his own person, and we all have yes and no's, and we are all individuals. Once you lead your life with respect and love, that's all what it matters.
And I like her response. And now on my other show, First Class Fatherhood, that I do, that is one of the questions that I ask the dads who enter into a relationship with a woman who already has kids and into a blended family, because those are very, very difficult situations for so many people to come into, especially if you have no children yourself, to come into a relationship where kids are already present. And I ask a lot of times the dads about how far along in a relationship they'll have to be before they'll introduce their kids to a potential spouse. They are important relationships, especially when kids are growing up without a father or a father figure, or without a mom or a mom figure. They are specifically important that you find a mother or a father figure for your kids. whether it's your spouse died, passed away, or, you know, if it's a divorce situation or something like that. Always critical. But here it was for Melania. She came into a situation where Donald Trump had 4 kids. And I think it's so cool to see the Trump family, the success that they are, and that you don't see all the out-of-bounds stuff that you see with the Obama kids, with the Hunter Biden, the Biden's kids, right? So just a class family and a class act. Melania Trump's got the new book out right now. Perfect time to grab a copy of it. And I thought if you watch the whole interview that she did on Fox, I think it was really, really good. So just wanted to kind of throw that in there. All right, don't forget, guys, tomorrow I got a fresh episode coming. I'm scheduled to have Congressman Tim Burchett and Congressman Warren Davidson join me on the podcast. So bring it right back here tomorrow, 1 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, live on Rumble. Make sure you're subscribing on Spotify, Apple, YouTube, wherever you're listening. Subscribe. There's going to be now, I'm going to hit you guys with 3 episodes each week leading up to election on November 5th. We've only got 35 days to go. We are coming down the home stretch. I'm going to try to keep hitting you guys with as much content as I can. Thank you for joining me today. Thursday on the show, I'm scheduled to have actor Kevin Sorbo, so don't forget about that as well. And this weekend, Saturday, I will be attending the Trump rally in Butler. So a lot going on here on the Alec Lace Show. I appreciate your support. I appreciate you tuning in. Thank you for spending some of your day with me here. Grateful as always. God bless all you parents out there. God bless you listeners. God bless our police, our first responders, our military, our veterans, and God bless America. Enjoy the vice presidential debate tonight, and I will catch you guys tomorrow right back here, 1 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. God bless.
You're listening to the Alec Lace Show. The future is family.
Promo code FATHERHOOD. Go to mypillow.com and everything we have on sale there. Actually, we brought in the percale sheets. The queen size, $34.98 a set. King size, $39.98 a set. That's unheard of. It's the lowest price in history. And everything else on there that we have, you can save up to 80%. We don't have any middlemen. We don't have box stores and stuff. They canceled on MyPillow. They would cancel my book to get my book out, you know. So use that promo code FATHERHOOD, everybody, and please help us out, and thanks for ones that you have already helped out. And by the way, you'll be helping yourself to the best sleep in history, period.
I got to tell you, that mattress topper is the best product I have in the house, Mike, no doubt.
And that turns any bed into the best bed in history. If you've got an old bed, new bed, doesn't matter. You put the mattress topper on there, and it changes everything. You need a different input to get a different output. People waking up every day going, maybe my bed will be better tonight. No, you need a MyPillow mattress.